Welcome back to the Final Fantasy VII Remake, and I'm gonna be so embarrassed at some point.
Wait, is this the part where you face off against you know who?
Yeah,
face off the behemoth, I'm guessing.
No, something.
Berry.
Dang it! I was hoping for that to be a surprise, but yes.
Yeah,
okay.
okay.
Don't worry, Dwibs. Losing to a Tonberry is not exactly a new thing, I assure you.
Took me completely by surprise. Is that a regular in the series?
Yes, actually,
boy.
ever since the 5th chapter.
Tonberry is a running gag in the Final Fantasy series, where it's this incredibly harmless-looking monster, but he kills you with one hit, basically.
Literally, Tonberries are more frightening than any villain you will find in Final Fantasy. They are that bad.
So why isn't he the main villain instead of Sephiroth?
Well, because then wouldn't be a running gag, now would it?
Not just that. Not just that. It's a thing like, you know, a JRPG series establishing a set of recurring monsters, and for the more high-ranking recurring one, giving them a gimmick that will make them lethal in some fashion.
Yes, Pedro?
Also, there's just be grateful that you're not doing hard mode, because if you were doing Hell's House in hard mode, Hell's House would literally throw 3 Tonberries at once at you.
Oh boy.
Now, granted,
Well,
no.
it's actually not as bad as you may think, because they're weaker Tonberries that are much easier to kill than normal Tonberries.
That said, though,
it evens out.
That said, though, still beware their knives, because even though they're weakened, that doesn't mean they can't still hit like a truck.
This is another Chocobo mixtape. Sorry.
I'm not really a fan of that remix, to be honest.
Well, Zova, here's the thing: when you fight the Tonberries in Hell's House, here's what you should do. You should not use magic, because if you use magic, they'll immediately counter it and kill you immediately. So just use physical attacks. Just go out there, do some physical attacks, and then. Okay, all right.
Topside. No one.
And look with that. Security's so tight these days that not even a gnat could slip through. Wall Market's in a sorry state too. Corneo's men are turning it upside down, looking for Avalanche.
Are they now?
Oh boy.
Yeah.
What? Got a problem?
No, but you might. Corneo's men are searching high and low.
Alright. Okay, that's easy then. Just take the gun off his arm.
Then he'll be defenseless.
He's big, just punch him.
Ain't these fools got anything better to do?
You should also know that you and that arm of yours were spotted in the Sector 5 slums. Apparently, you were loitering in a rather lovely flower garden.
Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah? Wait.
This is bad.
Oh, snap, Marlene.
Let's move.
Oh, crap.
Okay.
And there's
let's
no
go.
time to waste.
No time to waste.
Yeah, but sorry, bad what was that?
Did you just call me a bad boy? I'll have you know I'm a perfectly good boy. That's why I was allowed into Smash. Unlike what's her name?
Mai Shiranui.
Yeah.
Well, Sakura was referring to the audience, not the actual characters.
Exactly.
Don't try anything ever again.
You deep shits.
Okay, this thing does kind of throw me off a little bit. Stuff that's off the path is in another area, but I can never really find out what other area it is until I look it up in a bloody look through.
I guess the idea is like, oh, it's supposed to be hidden.
Well, okay,
in a sense.
She said flower bed. There are only 2 flower beds in this game: the one in the church and the one at Arif's backyard.
She also specifically mentioned Sector 5, so.
I'd be twist if it were an Aerith, if it said that this whole thing was in Aerith's backyard.
Not to mention for these particular quests that the game actually does give you a marker. So really, I don't know what more are you asking.
Okay, now that remix there, that remix there is all right. I'm just not a huge fan of the other.
Hey, Barrett. Hey, how's it going? Could be better. I've got a good number of watchmen out looking for survivors. But as much as I'd love to join them, I've got another mess on my hands.
Oh. Join the club, mate.
They're true. There is one.
Yeah, we kind of noticed it.
It's full of monsters. So, Cloud, think you can lend us a hand with it? It's only a matter of time. before these monsters come calling.
That could
I know
suck.
It's a dangerous job,
But no one else can do it.
well, yeah. So help us out.
Sure.
Bit later, mates. We've got other matters to attend to right now.
Well, let's just put in the to-do list.
Yeah. I'll put in the to-do list right next to rescue Aerith.
Watering the flowers of her house.
I should warn you though. The last time I was
the horror.
I should warn you though. The last time I was down there, some cloaked freaks blow dusted me from getting in too close and looking at something. Couldn't quite make out what it was.
Right. Let's continue on.
Right then.
Let's go to find these bugs.
Teach them a lesson once and for all.
Well, first we're gonna get this. We're gonna chocobo our way there.
Right.
Cloud, we already told you. Stop saying that. It's Lightning's catchphrase, not yours.
Hey, I said it before Lightning did, in a natural sentence.
Did you just pull I did it before it was cool?
Yes. Hell, it was literally in the 90s, so yeah, it was before it was cool.
Alright, one thing I was wondering, in regards to future Final Fantasy games that we're going to be doing on the channel, the only ones I know for certain is that, well, other than this one, Pedro's doing 8 Remastered and World of Final Fantasy.
I'm doing 9, probably in 6 as well.
I'm doing 2. I'm actually interested potentially for the 2D version of 4 and the after years, depending on how much different the content is. Oh, the super bosses are definitely different, but the main game mostly stays the same unless there is something big like major line changes of dialogue. I guess we can just stick with the 3D version.
I may or may not be taking the 3D version of 4. I think Teal's doing 1.
Actually, well, that can be arranged. If no one actually asks, I actually want to call dibs on instead on 12 because I actually really enjoyed the game and I recently got almost closer to the platinum. Oh, hold on.
Sure.
Cloud, thank goodness you're here. A group of Corneo's men just came.
Oh shit! That's what we're here for, Missy.
That's my cue.
Oh boy, here we go. One of the most embarrassing parts of my playthrough.
Well, Dwibs,
we'll
keep
see
in
what
mind.
That is. Well, hold on. We'll see what that is.
Yeah.
Oh, that's my cue to come in and take out the trash then.
Yeah. Well, not much going anywhere with this thing, anyway. How's he holding up?
Tifa, make sure you record this message. We'll throw this. We'll go to court and throw this message right at them.
It's constantly recording. It's my local live stream.
Can the guy see your camera?
Hello there.
If I don't survive this, tell my story.
That said, though, it's just a bunch of thugs. How bad could it be?
It's you again.
Should've known you were one of them.
Yes, you are.
That is but the question.
Enough of this bullshit. Hey, let him loose.
Let what loose?
Sure.
Oh,
What?
it's adorable.
Okay, serious question. How did these guys tame one of these
thing.
without getting hacked, choked, coughed, and poisoned to death?
Well, Jova, World of Final Fantasy explains how that works.
This is not one of the friendly ones.
These things took me completely by surprise.
Actually, no. The Tom Bears don't have to be friendly in World of Final Fantasy for you to be able to tame them.
Although, to be fair,
Thornberries are, technically speaking, very neutral creatures. They care only about, carrying out the revenge of people with a grudge that had grudges upon the living. So, in a sense, they can also be in your ally depending on the situations.
So, how is this one these guys' allies then?
Well, again, I really guess someone really held a grudge. These guys really held a grudge against someone else, and he actually helped them.
Well, they hold a grudge against us.
They are kind of like a yokai, although their origin is more of a pastiche between classic yokais and Western folklore, like Jack-o'-lantern or the Will-o'-the-Wisp. Though their design is like it's basically mixed between a lizard and a fish, represents supposedly Umibozu. even though I don't see that much, to be honest. And the signature weapon that he's using, the kitchen knife, is specifically a chef's knife. It's oddly specific.
Basically, audience, this enemy requires no introduction. It's one of the free recurring forces throughout Final Fantasy, the Tonberry. Ever since...
Well, and I'll be honest, I'd never heard of these guys until I encountered them in this game.
Well, I did show a couple of one or two encounters in the original run near the end, because you actually find them in the final dungeon. But to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if you forgot. There was the Tonberry is actually one of the few sparkling moments of actual, possible hilarity in the original Final Fantasy XIII, because you supposedly had to fight this super boss, this thief with so many tentacles that looks like so imposing, and then one of these little cute things just comes out of nowhere and stabs it, not even in the heart, just like in the ankle, and insta-kills it. And then you have Tonberry instead.
Here we go. Okay. Just gotta race this guy down and not get killed. Oh, god damn it.
Basically, Dwibs, your ideal strategy for this should have been giving Cloud the purple material that I mentioned, I think, around the second part, and starts spamming the dodge slash maneuver, which allows Cloud to do a sort of a 360 attack, which covers a large area and allows you to not be hit by each chef.
Oh, yeah. You can actually stagger a Tonberry in this game by actually dodging its attacks well. Only issue is that it can be a bit tough to dodge. I'll just say this though, Tifa must be made of something fierce, because in World of Final Fantasy, she literally takes a knife from a Tonberry in the butt and smacks it back in return.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Okay.
This particular Tonberry seems to be using the same strategy of the death monster in Dragon's Dogma, where he basically stuns you and then slowly approaches you to kill, because the Tonberry compensates his massive power by being slow as molasses, meaning that ranged characters like Barret can actually have an advantage over it.
That said, do not, and I repeat, do not cast magic on him or you will regret it. Because then he can counter on you with some spells that will one-shot you.
Well, in some games also, well, I'm not talking about this one, mind you, but this is reflected by the fact that in later games he actually got a sort of an upgrade to his moveset, because he started appearing in 5, but later appearances gave him a ranged attack with 7 called it Everyone's Grudge, but later it became called Karma, which actually helps. Although a couple of its later incarnations became more interesting, like the Final Fantasy 15 version decides to drop the whole slow as molasses shit and transforms their knife into fucking laser swords.
Okay, it's dead.
We give up, okay? We won't say a word
sure, buddy.
about you being here. Really? Honest?
That's right. You'll tell everyone we were never here. That the rumors were bullshit. And if we hear about you or any of your friends coming around here ever again...
Well, you saw what I did to that Tonberry.
I thought Cloud was going to say, I'll call all of them off.
I guess, to be fair, when you see people take down a Tonberry, you respect those people.
Respect. Yo.
Yeah. I'll get, even better, I'll get my own Tonberry and set him on your house.
I know you. You're Eret's bodyguard.
Hey,
That's
Mr.
me,
Doctor.
Cloud Stripe, professional Tonberry killer at your service.
You haven't seen her, have you?
Alright, if I recall correctly, this doctor requires 3 objects. A flower from the church, I think. One that you can get by purchasing at Mog's shop using the Moogle medals, and another that you find in a later dungeon.
I still don't understand what the hell makes those flowers so goddamn special.
Because Aerith looked after them.
Also, basic herbology, like, herbology was basically the most primitive kind of medicine that you could get, because, you know, before proper medicines were invented, herbs were literally the only thing that could remotely cure anything. Sorry, go on.
So now we're gonna go down here and try and sort out what the hell's making what the hell's freaking out all the locals.
We also noticed that some of the noises were happening already when Barret was searching Cloud in the area.
I get that too. It's just that even dating all the way back to the original game, Aerith is all like, oh, this place is special, and the flowers only grow in this specific because this place is special. Okay, why is it special specifically?
Probably because I guess they provide for a particular herb or medicine or whatnot.
I guess it's like, in fact, didn't she say it, at least for the original game, the fact that the area she was living in was not too contaminated by the mark over the reactor or something?
Not that I remember, but I'll have to look it up.
It's the same thing that happens in the church, like the reason why flowers just bloom in the church regularly.
Well,
like that.
To YouTube.
Or potentially the wiki, just let me check quickly. While we scour the lab once again.
Continuing from previous point though, when it comes to Dwibs on recording, I guess keeping up with the running theme of me doing the bad ones, I guess I'll do 10 and 10 too.
Hey! I wouldn't call them bad per se.
Well,
you have your opinion, I have mine.
Yeah, let's go on.
Are there any other Final Fantasy games you think I'd be
You're still missing Mystic Quest.
Yeah, you were supposed to do Mystic Quest.
I already gave up that playthrough.
Well, I mean, if you can't do Mystic Quest, then you're gonna have an issue, because Mystic Quest is supposed to be literally the tutorial game for Final Fantasy.
Oh, jeez, that roar was on.
Maybe the game is so plain that it keeps throwing me off. I don't know.
I kid you not, that game was literally made as Japan's way of saying, oh, you Americans don't understand our RPG movie magic and writing.
It was literally patronizing the game.
Yeah.
Also, here in Europe, it's not a Final Fantasy game.
Well, over here, it still is called a Final Fantasy game, and that's what Square presented it as.
Jesus, that's a big dog.
I've got 14 anyway, so...
Tifa will not be able to pass right that one weapon anymore. 0 out of 10.
Like I did the bloody knife monster.
Well, it depends on how that particular limit break works in this version. We'll have to wait and see. I wouldn't be surprised if it does happen. There are attacks in this game that involve aerial and a lot of stuff and a lot of movement. So I think it is possible that they can.
Tifa's entire shtick is to chain properly her abilities, so she actually can chain them up in a proper combo.
Also, dial it back a little, Tifa. We're in a desperate situation.
Gotta need some optimism where it needs to do it.
Lord knows, given what's happened lately, optimism is what we could use.
Oh, it's the monodrive's weak against wind.
Use arrow.
Well, I don't think he remembers at this point. Actually, Cloud has it.
Stay still, you bloody arsehole.
The monodrives are weak against wind magic. However, like we've just said, they move around a lot, so it can be difficult to hit them with wind magic.
So I'm just gonna shock him. Or shock the sweeper, actually.
Good. Electricity is good against machines.
Oh, electricity. Die already. Hello. Yeah. Congratulations, Shinra. Your machine can be beaten by a 20-year-old with boxing gloves.
Actually, if I recall correctly, this was one of the older models, the prototype one that you find also in Sector 5.
Also, big deal, Dwibs. There have been, like, how old is Gallup's daughter?
Sorry, who?
How old is Gallup's daughter from 5? I forgot her age.
Gallet?
No, Gallup. Like, you know, the guy who, maybe I'm mistaking names. You know, okay, without spoiling anything, the party member that gets replaced in 5, you know the one.
Oh, Garuf. Okay. Right. I don't think it's his daughter anymore. His daughter. I think it's like a granddaughter. But I think she's like what, 16? I think. Let me check again to the wiki just to be sure.
I don't remember how old she is in the new GPA translation.
I don't think they changed
16.
much.
So what does she do at the age of 16?
She's as competent as the other Warriors of Light, basically. 5 is basically very simple in terms of instance, but aside from minor stat difference, all your character can perform the same jobs, so it's up to you to customize them as much as you can.
Okay, question. I wonder why Shin would leave these boxes full of potentially valuable stuff just lying around in cages.
Well, isn't this a place where they just, you know, like a...
The experiments.
Basically,
and as you can see, it doesn't look abandoned from too much.
Basically, just for context, this was supposed to be a hidden laboratory. Of course, it got exposed after, you know, Shinra dropped the platform of 7 on there. Basically, they were kind of counting on there being no survivors. Which, you know...
Oh, sorry, go on, Jova.
Which, you know, originally, in the original 7, aside from the Avalanche members, Aerith and Marlene, there pretty much weren't any survivors from Sector 7 originally in the original game.
I checked, the character you were referring to, Pedro, she's 14.
Okay, then. And there's also the Onion Kids from Free. In the original Final Fantasy Free, there were Onion Kids. They were probably pretty young as well.
Japan has a lot of media where literal demigods can be beaten up by prepubescent children. So, you know.
Okay, I can't get any of these boxes, unfortunately. It's called, I can't switch characters.
Imagine, those are the ones that your mother would actually be in, though.
Yeah.
And you can't get to them. The ones you were looking for and you can't reach them.
Cloud's ashes were right there. Fortunately, he lacks the tools to do so. The will to tell Barrett to just shoot. And thus he would never find his mum's ashes, and Sephiroth would just laugh at him.
You would say that.
Like that, exactly. Like you'd laugh like that.
So yeah, there's a 21-year-old fighting in a Final Fantasy game. Trust me, by Final Fantasy standards, old.
Like these two are boomers in their eyes.
Ooh.
I know they're not, for the record.
Wow, okay. Yeah, well, we'll come back to that later.
It's just nothing, Dwibs, come on.
You know, I can't imagine how my life could get any weirder after fighting a Tonberry. Little did I know how crazy things were about to get.
Wow. Yeah. All of a sudden, the game turned into here's how I got.
And there's the behemoth. A Type 0 behemoth, mind you.
What an entry. So yeah, our first behemoth, and it's an experiment gone rogue from Shinra, go figure.
The strategy is that the horror is invulnerable in this state. You need to basically chop... Dwibs, do what you know best, chop these things' legs.
Yeah.
This isn't football.
Yeah. Well, Dwibs, this is where you're actually supposed to chop people's legs off. Football is not where you're supposed to do it.
Anyway, I checked...
It's extreme football or something.
Anyway, I checked to be sure, Pedro, the new enemy character for the 3D version of Final Fantasy 3, Luna, Ark, Terefia, and Ingus, do not have canonical ages stated, but they're still very young kids, so I'm gonna guess around 15, 16. Ingus is definitely the oldest of the bunch.
Sure. I'm guessing Onion Kid from the city doesn't have any particular age.
No. It's just like the Warrior of Light, he's stated to be a mystery, so you just have to guess. Everyone else referred to him as a kid, so...
I'll admit, for as much as I don't like 13, I did like what they did with the behemoths.
Oh, no, the behemoth, the monster design in Final Fantasy 14, I would argue, was pretty good.
Yeah, I liked how they had the behemoths do those stance shifts, you know, going from...
No. That's because...
was embarrassing. I was too far away from...
That's because Jova basically are a pastiche of the regular version and the one based in Final Fantasy X, where the behemoth actually do stand up.
Again, Jova, pretty much all of the effort went into the visuals.
And then came the sequels.
Well, the sequels were made on a tight schedule and budget.
Also, I argue the monster design for the sequel actually stays consistent. Hell, argue it's better than the actual game is in. Like, the dragon boss monster in 13.2 is way better than the product it's in, like I noticed.
Oh, no, it is. It is definitely, I agree with that. Like, because it's usually very hard to continue to have, like, this particular behemoth feels like it's very much in terror. It follows very much in line with what we saw in 13 and 15. That big, muscular type of behemoth. So,
you know, yeah.
Well, that's because of how big they're conceptualized already in the. Well, not necessarily in the first game. I don't remember when you first show up, but where it starts showing up from the second. The behemoth is conceptualized from the D&D monster manual, and it's supposed to be an amalgamation from the most fierce beasts ever, like part lion, part shark, part goat, almost a chimera-like enemy.
You know, it's funny.
It's funny. That tail glitch.
It's funny how you have to consider.
It's like the one you found in Shadow of the Colossus.
It's funny how you have to consider that a Tonberry is still probably more dangerous than this thing.
That's like lethal joke territory, you know.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy has its own share of, you know, recurring demonic spiders that are like considered recurring monsters.
I think one of the fun.
I wonder how anyone got any sleep with this giant ramp round.
Well, it was still contained in this big room, so it couldn't do much. But the quest is
all the growling and all.
It's very deep, buried underground. Please remember, you don't start hearing the roaring up until you are actually in the lab.
I guess the idea.
The people who decided to take a little nap inside.
And even then, remember, the quest giver told you that they were starting hearing the rumors, so meaning that this thing was about to get free. So the better to pull it down its misery, from its misery.
And there we are.
Pull the trigger, Cloud.
Yeah. Give us... Yeah, okay, Behemoth, give us the body or we'll have to pull the... Oh.
Yeah, it's like a company from Shinra, like instead of a dog we showcase instead the Behemoth.
Okay,
give us the money or we pull the trigger.
Oh my god, can you imagine actually if Behemoths in this reality were actually those dogs just mutated to this point?
It could be possible. Remember, Joe, that the in-story explanation about the monster rampage and mutation are all about the Mako, so it's not too far-fetched to imagine that the Behemoth may be a mutation, but it could be still possible they're just native and they're just a forgotten species.
Also, silly tale. We all know that Behemoth is best Behemoth.
Actually, I don't remember what it looks like.
I looked exactly like Amano's Behemoth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, wasn't Amano involved in...
Yeah, well, remember, he was the one who did contribute some illustrations. He even designed the Evil Goddess.
There you go, that's why I don't remember. Behemoth starts officially appearing in Final Fantasy 2.
Oh, look at that, they actually brought the stance.
Yeah,
and just like that, the Behemoth is defeated. But we've still got giant rocks falling on us.
But Yoshitaka Amano did made an artwork for Final Fantasy 1, picking the warrior like facing a behemoth with wings, which as a concept will be later used for Final Fantasy 15.
So that was cute how they had it stand on its two hind legs.
Right. Okay. One thing you can do, thankfully, is that you don't have to run all the way back to exit. You just press the L.
Yeah.
And you get back up to the entrance.
It's specific for the lab only. I guess the developers thought it would have been too much of a cumbersome to just go back all the way through.
I guess it's also because you literally get nothing on your way back up there unless you want to grind. So yeah, the option's there.
But yeah, the Behemoth official etymology comes from basically the Old Testament, Job 40, 15, 24.
I think I really do appreciate for...
So let's give the townspeople the good news.
I think I really appreciate about this remake is like, well, they find ways to fit in monsters that otherwise would not fit in the Midgar setting, because they're safe for later parts, and get them to show up here so that, it feels like its own proper adventure.
The Doctor can wait right now because that's the best thing about this game. On occasion, you can get multiple side missions done at once.
I like that.
I know it's tough right
Yeah, if you remember, the doctor needed some specific ingredients. One is getting this behemoth horn, one is to buy it from the Moogle kid, and the third one, I don't remember where you actually get it, but it's from another, optional stuff.
Well, the important thing was that I got it, so yeah.
If only you knew, Weimer, if only you knew.
Also, you got a weapon for Barrett, but it's one of the close-range one, and yeah, I tested a bit more, and Barrett's close-range attacks in this game are on the weaker side. It's definitely more suited for the gun, with the gun weapons.
Very unreliable as well, like that bloody battering ram that he has. Okay, yeah, I'm muting this bit because I'm...
Yo, Dwibs, don't you feel hip, yo?
Yo, do you want to ride some chocobos, my homie boy, my sizzling Sam?
His clothes are sweaty, beaks weaved, all the ready, mouse spaghetti.
Not with these shitty R&B remixes, I'm not.
But Dwibs...
It's real ASMR section hour with Chocobo here.
I don't want ASMR chocobos.
ASMR chocobo feathers rustling.
I mean, it's Cloud's live stream service. Might as well put some spice into it.
Yeah, ASMR has some hot shit right now, Cloud. You should totally do that.
Cloud is a camor.
Plus on the Aerith is off the Aerith right now, so
yeah, so I kind of have to take up the traffic.
Did you manage to get everything I needed? Thank you. This ought to be more than
at the risk of our lives, but yes.
Put her trust in you.
Oh yeah, the medicinal flowers is one you get from the church, I think.
You've done more than your fair share
yeah, I already got that. I didn't even know I had to get those.
Medicinal flowers. I've heard of as a nickname for marijuana.
Actually, the correct term will be Aphelas, Jova.
Okay, so while Cloud gets arrested for smuggling illegal drugs, we'll see you in the next part.
Yeah.
Yeah.